Well, we'll watch out how that discussion goes on, Shruti. But for now, thank you very much for joining me here. And moving ahead, viewers, let's tell you that Iran is saying that it is showing maximum restraint and remains open to dialogue, despite what it calls continued provocations and pressure from the West. Speaking on the issue, officials said Tehran has responded to what they described as blackmail and provocation by reaffirming its commitment to political dialogue and peaceful solutions to long-standing disputes. The remarks come after 5 rounds of Iran-US nuclear talks in 2025 mediated by Oman ended without progress. Negotiations were disrupted following Israel's military operation against Iran and US strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. During and between the talks, US officials repeatedly said Washington is seeking not only limits on Iran's uranium enrichment but also curbs on Tehran's broader military capabilities, including its missile program. Iran maintains that dialogue remains their preferred path, even as tensions with the US and its allies continue to escalate. And I request Shruti to join me back in the discussion here. Shruti, this is once again crucial, also against the backdrop of the recognition of Somaliland, where apparently the Israeli idea is to place the displaced Palestinians from West Bank. So that is contention, and also the fact that Hamas gets much of its support from Iran. How do you see that challenge being addressed?
Well, Iran, what you just reported about Iran is also part of what they want to tell the world, that they were supposed to have their sunset sanctions being like a set of sunset sanctions, part of the JCPOA, to be lifted in October, but snapbacks were issued by the E3. And so that has now they're still economically crippled. They're not part of the world's big trade market of trade. So that is something they want off. To get that particular thing off, they need to have US work with the other E3, the West, to kind of withdraw from their particular position. That is something that Iran is not seeing as of now. Now, displaced Gazans to Somaliland, Iran's perspective of it is not positive at all. They would not want something like that to happen, because their entire cause, as I have stated, right from even before the Islamic Revolution, has been to push against the existence of Israel in that Arab region, in the Gulf region. So while Husseini was talking about it in 1947, disagreeing with the entire agenda of the British to give away this particular piece of land. So this has been something that is core to Iran's ideology, that Gaza stays with Gazans, Hamas will not move out. So the recognition of Somaliland, or finding an alternate piece of land and then probably developing Gaza into a Florida-like state or destination, tourist destination, whatever these plans are that we keep hearing about on the rumor mill, would probably not go well with Iran. They do support Hamas, Houthis, as well as Hezbollah with arms and money, and we know this. This is their umbrella through which they try and control the conversations and narratives around the Gulf regions. This is not going to go down well with them, but right now they're pretty much crippled. They've borne the 12-day war. They've lost a lot of military heads. They have lost about 1,000 other people in the 12-day war. They are struggling with the sanctions that have snapped back in, and so they want first to get out of the sanctions zone. They want to first try and earn money back, be part of the normal economy, which is something which USA would be open to, but at the cost of what is something that we need to look at.
And what about the question of the nuclear talks between the US and Iran? That, of course, has not seen any breakthrough so far until this year.
No, they haven't.
Yeah.
No, they haven't. What has happened is that the IAEA have been given partial access to the non-damaged sites. So whatever were damaged during the war, those sites are still sealed off. We are still not sure of where the enriched uranium is. We are not sure of how much is their quantity, what is the level that Iran is able to snap back into after the months of wars. So their entire nuclear question mark remains the same. Although the Ayatollah himself has turned around and said that owning a nuclear weapon is against Islamic tenets and that is not an ambition of Iran, but somehow the enrichment levels either allow them to produce for other nuclear powers, empower them behind the backs in the quiet, or have nuclear ambitions while denying them publicly in the name of religion. So either of these two questions still remain. Exactly what was happening, nobody really knows. The nuclear question is still very much active.
All right, then. Thank you, Shruti, for joining me with your perspective here. And we move ahead.